Hey, welcome to another Valley Forged. Today we're talking desktop lasers. I've just been going over the xTool P2 that is just kind of coming out now. And many of you have probably already seen my videos on that. And that will be part of this comparison. I'm going to check out the xTool P2, the Gweike Cloud, or whatever the heck this name is. I've heard a lot of reviews on it. Nobody has said the same name twice, I think. The Polar Pro from OhmTech. Glowforge, of course. I have that right here on the screen. Kind of started it all when it comes to this segment. And the 60 watt. I'm just going to go over some of the other ones also. And a 60 watt OhmTech, just regular laser with a larger bed size. They cost really about the same price as these desktops. So, really you should be thinking of, why am I not getting that? Or why am I not sticking with a diode laser? Maybe a 20 or 30 watt diode laser that can do a lot of the stuff these can do. So if you've thought about that, and of course a lot less cost. So if you've thought about both of those things and you've decided, hey, I want a desktop, I'm going to go into, which one is the best and why not? For some of you, I'm going to say some things and you're going to say, well, hey, that's fine for me, right? So let's start out with the Glowforge. It started it all. It's got one button and it's very easy to use. All of the software is on the cloud. It's very expensive. If you're going to get one that fits in with these rest of these machines I'm going to review today, we're talking about $7,000. That's over twice as much as, say, the Polar Pro or the Gweike Cloud. So you better know that the convenience is what you want. And not to mention, you're probably going to have at least a $20 a month service charge for their software. And you can never use Lightburn with this. So you are going to be stuck having to be online and having to use their software. And so if you're ever going to upgrade to a larger machine, you're going to have to start all over. So there's a lot of things that I don't like about Glowforge. A lot of the people, that are familiar with lasers will tell you the same thing. It's great for what it is. And if you've got a lot of money to throw away and you do not want to deal with learning about lasers, this is probably your best bet. But I personally am not going to recommend them. So what am I going to recommend? So let's go on. Let's move on here. Let's talk about the Gweike Cloud or Gweike Cloud or Gweike Cloud. Well, first of all, the fact that it has cloud in the name is already a negative to me. I don't want to play in the cloud. I want everything to be on my computer. Now, if I use the cloud for some things, great, but I want everything to be local, and I want to even run things from the desktop itself. I don't want to always have to be on my computer to use it. Some things that Gweike Cloud don't do well, and this is actually a pretty good video by Laser Engraving 911. I will leave this in the description, as with all the other videos I'm going to reference here. And what you'll notice is the cons that he goes through are pretty big cons. And just something that I wouldn't even want to mess with. But I think it's far better to listen to people who have actually had the machine and are using the machine. Are these cons? Because I got to tell you, a lot of these review channels, they're not going to be dishonest. They are going to mention the problems of the machines, but they're not going to go deep into them if they ever want to get another machine from somebody. So really listen to the negative comments that you get on these review videos and go and check out what they're saying. I remember I was, before I bought my Ortura LaserMaster 3, I was watching the Louisiana Hobby Guy, and he mentioned about, you can't run air assist or else it's going to make the lens dirty, right? And he was having that problem. And of course, in my head, I'm going, how is that possible? You're running air right through the laser, yet it's getting smoke. But sure enough, I buy that laser, and within a day, the lens is dirty. So at least I went into buying that laser knowing that might happen. So again, when you're watching these reviews, you see a negative comment, Think about how that's going to apply to your life. And here's an actual customer from one of my videos who has a Gweike Cloud. And some cons we've noticed with the Gweike are a lack of red dot. So there is no red dot, so you can't see where the laser is. And a lot of these desktop lasers, they do not have that. The 5-megapixel camera is mediocre for alignment. Having the Z-axis return to 0 after every job. And it's also refocus every job. And then every time that you change the thickness of the material you're putting in, you have to measure it. You have to enter that in. It is ridiculous.
The unit automatically returns home after every job and then resets your focus to 0. I'm not sure why that is the case with this unit. I'm not sure if it's the controller board, but it is very time consuming and kind of an annoyance to have to reset your focus after every job. Because remember, this unit doesn't have a movable Z-axis. The actual laser head moves up and down to adjust for focus.
The lights dim every time the lid opens. He needs the light. Of course, you want the light. That's the time you want the light. Little things like this I've noticed right off the bat, especially how filthy our machine was from the factory. Cutting fluid, nothing deburred, missing and loose screws, literally just thrown together. Now, they do have a pretty good following on social media where you can ask questions, you can do things, but for me, after listening to everything and actual customers, I would not recommend the Gweike Cloud. And it doesn't seem to have seamless integration with Lightburn. And that's going to be a thing. You cannot control it directly from the desktop. You need to control it from your computer. And that's something else I'm going to get into. The xTool. Many of you have seen my videos. This is new on the market. There are a lot of things that are not yet settled about this machine. Now, I am part of the xTool CO2 laser official group, and I've asked questions on here that have not been answered. I've had people that actually are asking xTool directly. We are not getting answers on different things. I asked if with the conveyor that you can still use Lightburn for that. No answer. From some of the reviews I've seen, some of the functions in their very own software are not currently working, like with the focus. So much less working with Lightburn, which they say will happen in the future. So the xTool, this could possibly be, and I've said this in my latest video, this could be the best laser ever made. And there are a lot of things about this that could be game changers. And this could be one of the best buys you've ever made, but it's not ready yet. And that's a could be. There are so many unknowns about this laser that I am unwilling to recommend it at this time. I watched their hype video. I was not impressed, but again, it does have a lot of potential. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'm going to let you guys know what I think in the future. And I want to hear from anybody out there who actually has bought a machine with their own money and it has come in and they're using it. I want to hear the things you like, the things you don't like from actual people here, not from the company, not people that are trying to, shill the machine. But once again, I may recommend this in the future, but right now I think that there is a better buy. And surprisingly enough, I'm going to say that that is the OhmTech Polar Pro. And before you click away saying, hey, I've watched the videos on this and, it has a lot of the same problems as the Gweike Cloud. And that is true. And, I think of it as made by the same company, slightly better things put into it, a little easier, a little better integration with Lightburn. But I was saying no, I was definitely not going to recommend this. Then I watched this video from Edmonds Workshop. Now go over and give him a subscribe and a like, which I did. I think it's an excellent video, and he upgraded his OhmTech Polar Pro with a Ruida controller. Now, anybody that has been working in lasers for a while and worked on larger CO2 lasers will recognize this controller. This is the same thing you're going to use on machines all the way to 150 watts. Things are stored right here on the controller. You can run your jobs from here. You can move your laser. You can do your focus. It completely changes this from a mediocre desktop into a very, very useful machine that it's basically a large CO2 laser that can run on the desktop. I am very interested in picking up one of these OhmTech Polar Pros myself at some point now. It has just, raised the bar. Now, there are still some things about this laser that are going to be challenges, and that's why I hope to get my hands on one so that I can run through that. But I think they're all fixable. I think everything that's a problem with this machine is now fixable. Running with the Ruida controller through Lightburn. I think the price is right. It's about $3,000. So, you're not breaking the bank because you're getting such a almost turnkey machine after you add the controller. I will add a link to this video in the description if you want to go get it. And he has looks like a 5% discount on the Polar Pro. So that might be helpful to you. This video is not sponsored, affiliated, anything by OhmTech. They've sent me nothing. And in fact, this isn't even something they have done really, but at least they made the controller upgradable to be able to use the Ruida. I think this is fantastic. I've also put a comment into him on the video asking if there's anything he would add since making this video so that we can get some real world results. Is it running smoothly now? Is everything going well? And if you're thinking about getting the Polar Pro, and you like and subscribe to him, ask him these same questions and hopefully we will find out more. But as things stand right now, this would be my choice. Now, I saw on Make or Break Shop, he showed the Flux Hexa. He mentions in passing about the Lightburn, and this is what he uses on all his machines, but kind of glosses over the fact that you cannot use Lightburn on the Flux Hexa. Now, they're once again said, oh, we're going to do that in the future, but, I'm not counting on it. And as cool as this thing is, because actually the bed moves up and down. So this has quite a few things that I really like about it. It's a 60 watt machine. It seems more like a regular large laser just put into a small bed. There's a lot to like about it, but it's using their own proprietary software that doesn't have a lot of features that I'm going to want. So I just thought I would throw that in there in case you were taking a look at this. There will be other ones on the market that I haven't seen yet, but unless they can do everything this does with an $140 controller added to it, yeah, it's going to be tough to beat this one. So that's where I am at now. Of course, I don't know everything. And of course, there's a xTool P2 commercial right here every single time I look at this video. Let me know in the description. When you watch this video, was there an xTool commercial first? I noticed I was getting those all the time for a while. Again, that xTool might be an amazing machine. I'm just waiting to hear a little bit more. So hopefully you learned something in this video. I'm just giving you what I got from what I've learned, and I hope it's useful. And I will see you in the next one. Love y'all.